Price of Desire, Part 6, No Way Out. Mia stood at the edge of something dark. She could feel it, smell it in the air like gasoline waiting for a match. Past was no longer creeping up on her. It had her by the throat. Adrian leaned back in his chair, watching her like he had already decided how this was going to end. "You don't have a choice," he said. Mia clenched her jaw. "There's always a choice," Adrian smirked. "Is there? Your mother thought the same thing. And now look where she is." Mia's stomach twisted. In heaven, not because of bad luck, not because of the life she tried to escape, because they didn't let her go. Mia shoved the photograph across the table. If she was so important, why did they send her to heaven? Adrian sighed because she tried to tear down the house instead of sitting at the table. "They won't make the same mistake with you." Mia's pulse hammered. "I'm not my mother." Adrian leaned in. "You are to them." A chill ran through her bones. Had spent years running from the ghosts of her past. Now she was one. The blood-old Daniel had never been a man who ignored the truth. He faced things head-on, broke them down, and rebuilt what was left. But this was something he couldn't wrap his mind around. Mia had never belonged to him. She had belonged to something bigger, something older, something with roots so deep in blood that it was impossible to pull them out. And now, those roots were coming for her. The scarred man sat across from him in his dimly lit living room, calm as ever. "You want to save her?" Daniel's grip tightened around the whiskey glass in his hand. "Want to know where she is?" The man smirked. "That's not what I asked." Daniel exhaled sharply, trying to steady his breathing. "You said she's in trouble." "She's past trouble," the man corrected. "She's being pulled into something she doesn't understand." Daniel set his glass down hard. "Then tell me what she's caught up in." The man studied him for a long moment before reaching into his jacket. Daniel tensed, ready to pull his gun, but the man only slid a thin, yellowed envelope across the table. Daniel hesitated before picking it up. Inside was a single sheet of paper. A contract. His eyes scanned over the words, stomach twisting at the name scrawled at the bottom. "Mia's mother." Daniel looked up. "What is this?" The man exhaled. "A blood oath. The kind that doesn't break, not even in death." Daniel's hands tightened on the paper. "Then that means," the man nodded, "they don't want to send Mia to heaven. They want her to fulfill her destiny in the game. The House of Wolves." Mia walked through the grand house, her heels clicking against the marble floor. It was beautiful, but the kind of beauty that came with a price. Gold-trimmed walls, chandeliers dripping with crystal, the faint scent of cigar smoke clinging to the air. It wasn't a home. It was a throne room. And she was walking straight into the lion's den. The doors at the end of the hall opened before she even reached them. Inside sat a man she had never met, but somehow knew. Sultan pepper hair, piercing dark eyes, a suit tailored so perfectly it looked like it had been stitched into his skin. He smiled. "Mia," he said, voice smooth as silk. "It's about time." She didn't sit. "Who the hell are you?" His smile widened. "A friend of your mother's." Mia clenched her fists. "My mother's in heaven." "Yes," he nodded. "And now you stand in her place." Mia's heart pounded. "I never agreed to that." The man chuckled. "You don't have to. The ink was signed in blood before you were even born." She felt the weight of those words pressed down on her chest. "This is a mistake," she said. The man's smile didn't fade. "No, Mia. The mistake was thinking you could ever leave." Her breath caught. "You think Rico found you by accident," he continued. "That he loved you because of fate." Mia's stomach churned. "Rico made a choice," the man said. "And he paid for it." Her pulse spiked. "What are you saying?" she whispered. The man stood, walking toward her at an agonizing pace. "I'm saying he didn't just break the rules." He stopped inches from her, voice dropping to a whisper. "He tried to set you free." Mia's blood ran cold. "Rico never told you." "Did he?" The man mused. "He thought he could protect you, that you'd never have to know the truth." She swallowed hard. "What truth?" The man reached into his pocket, pulling out something small and dropping it into her palm. "A ring, Rico's ring." Mia's breath hitched. "He made a deal," the man said. "His life for yours." Her knees nearly buckled. No, that wasn't true. Rico had been reckless. He had gotten himself sent to heaven, hadn't he? The man sighed, almost pitying her. "He thought they'd let you go. He thought he could cheat fate." Mia gritted her teeth. "And you had him unlived for it." The man tilted his head. "No, Mia. **** did. She felt the air leave her lungs. "You were he said. You were the cost of his betrayal. The rune spun. Rico had went to heaven trying to free her, and she had walked straight back into the cage. The man clapped a hand on her shoulder. But don't worry, he murmured. We'll make sure his sacrifice wasn't in vain. Mia's fingers curled around the ring, her nails biting into her skin. No, she wasn't going to let them carve her into something she wasn't. She wasn't going to be her mother's ghost, and she sure as heck wasn't going to be their pawn. The man turned away, assuming she was already beaten, his mistake. Mia slipped the ring onto her fingers, straightened her back, and smiled. Let the games begin.